And we are back this time to discuss Mandalorian. Preston,
Bum ba
welcome
da dum
back.
ba da dum bum bum ba da dum
Da-da-da,
dum ba
da-da-da-dum.
da dum ba da dum bum ba da dum. That's what you're listening to, guys. That's why you've all tuned in to hear us hum the Mandalorian theme. That's okay. Yeah.
So, Mandalorian is back,
Yeah.
and so is Baby Yoda, who didn't make much of an appearance this time, but we did get.
We got his eyes a bit. He didn't do much. I kept thinking like, when's the Baby Yoda ex machina? And he didn't do it this time. You know how there's always a Baby Yoda ex machina?
hmm
Yeah. Didn't happen.
You know what I will say about this episode? That it was actually titled Chapter 9, The Marshal.
Yeah, because I noticed on Disney Plus they actually didn't put the title up on the
Hmm.
screen, but it was called The Marshal. Okay.
Yeah, Chapter 9. And I find it interesting because this doesn't feel like the beginning of a new season. This feels just like a continuation of the last one.
Yeah, yeah, it's true though. I will say that I think it's I don't know if they're just putting all of the money in the first episode or what, but because I guess the last episodes of the first season had a lot more going on, but it feels like production value has kicked up a notch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that 110%. Like the Krayt Dragon itself, like
Yeah,
yeah, it went up.
The Krayt Dragon looked great. It looked really good.
Well, we're jumping around a bit.
Yeah,
Let me
yeah.
let me go through
Let's
the
start from the
episode.
beginning. Yeah.
So the episode starts off with the Mandalorian. He's tasked with returning the child to its people, the Jedi, and he begins searching for
This
other Mandalorians.
mysterious unknown cult called the Jedi. Am I pronouncing it right? Is
I
it
think so.
Jedi? It's
The wizard guys.
it's a mysterious cult. We've never heard of them before. But yes, the mysterious unknown cult of the Jedi. Yes, that he has to return.
The
This
religious wizards, of
this
course.
this alien that no one's ever seen their species before, like ever.
Apparently,
Like
like no
there's
one's ever
never
seen him
there's
before.
never been like a famous person like who's been of that species that like had like incredible impact and rule over the entire galaxy. Like that didn't happen. Okay. Anyway, okay. All right. Okay. Let's. All right. Okay. I'm following along. Okay.
So the first scene I thought was pretty badass. It's not something we've kind of seen before because in the previous season, Amanda was always in like these lush jungles or random ass exotic environments. But this time we get like a nice little underground fighting arena.
They did that opening scene. I have to say the details that they put on everything, like going in and the graffiti be like having like stormtroopers crossed out and different things like in the
hmm
designs. It was pretty neat, and I'd say that I like the eyes of the beasts, and then you kind of see them and you don't really think much of it, but then those eyes come back later. I thought that was the atmosphere and everything was very well done. Yeah.
we finally got to see I think from any of the movies the one-eyed guy from the cantina. I think that's one of the very few aliens we haven't seen. We've seen Devil Guy, we've seen Weird Neck Guy. We haven't seen One-Eyed Guy
So
yet.
was
So
One-Eyed Guy like in a preview or something? What I mean, he did seem familiar, but and then
yes, he was in the trailer, and it's that trailer shot where
oh
like the Mando is surrounded by those guys, and he's about to use the wrist rocket things, and the little baby Yoda puts the shield
yeah,
on the
yeah.
cradle.
So the monster voiced by John Leguizamo, Luigi.
Oh, you caught that too, huh?
Yeah, and even though I mean I'm a sucker for like practical effects, and even though it was like very clearly like a robot mouth and everything, like that reminds you of like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1, like I still loved it. I still like the old style practical effects. Yeah. So
hmm
yeah, it was pretty.
So the guy, when he tries to escape, he tries to ambush Mando. He tries to leave. Mando grabs him
Mm,
and strings him up, and he reveals to Mando that Mando has to go back. He has to backtrack back to Tatooine, where he might find another Mandalorian, which is weird because I thought he had connections with the Mandalorian tribes. So if he needed a Mando to help him out, he could just call one up. But I guess
right.
they've all scattered.
Yeah, I guess so. Gone into hiding. I think there's vaguely something about that after their underground lair was discovered.
Right, but they've gone into hiding so well that he can't get into contact with at least one person who may have like, huh?
Yeah, yeah. And why would, I mean, it's funny that it's just like he's looking for any Mandalorian. Like, why would the Mandalorians know how to get to the Yoda species? But I don't know. But he's looking for his people who apparently know how to get to the Yoda species.
Right, but the coolest part of that whole scene was afterwards. He's like, you won't die by my hands," and
Yeah,
he hits off the lights, and the giant red eyes like
yeah.
come in on the guy that's being strung up.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think in that less is more. Like we never find out what those monsters looked like, but we don't need to know what those monsters look like because, you know,
Hmm.
that's the whole thing. We can figure out that they're mysterious and horrible. Um, and so, yeah, I think that opening shot, like if that were the opening shot of the series rather than what we got way back with the bar fight, I think it might have even been a better introduction to everything. But
I think so too.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny because so my wife was watching on and off, and she's like, "Wait, he's got little like needle weapons that can just kill anyone." I was like, "Yeah, but they did establish last season that they show him building them, and they're really hard to come by because they're made of this like really rare metal that they're looking for." And she's like, "Oh,
Hmm.
so after she kills after he kills them all, he's gonna like pick those like little arrows out of them, right?" I was like, I guess
I don't think it works
I
like that.
guess he should be doing that, but right, like there should be. I mean, some salvageable. What was the metal called again?
A Beskar,
Beskar. You think there would be some
which the one-eyed alien guy, he was a collector of apparently. That's why he tried to ambush
right
Mando.
to get his suit and everything? Yeah.
It's funny when I play RPGs. I don't know about you, but when I play RPGs, I almost never use any of like the cool stuff. Like I'm always saving them for like the big boss
Yeah,
battle.
yeah.
And by the time I finish the game, I realize I just accumulated all these potions and materials, and I've never
Yeah,
used them.
it's like really nice pants that you never wear because they're too nice, and then
Right.
you never wear them. You know, everybody has a really nice pair of pants that you just never wear. You know, yeah,
So
yeah,
he gets pointed to Tatooine, so we have to go back there again. And upon arrival,
yeah.
he learns. Go ahead.
About that, I mean, just Star Wars in general, whether it's Tatooine or a planet that looks identical to Tatooine, it's just, can we get off the desert planets? Like this episode, they needed to do it because the lore and the arc was heavy on it. But let's stop with the desert planets. Let's stop with Tatooine. So
Honestly, I just here's the thing. Like the last season where we also went back to Tatooine, I didn't think that needed to be done. That episode entirely could have been like removed because that
yeah,
was remember the episode like he meets up with this one guy and they're chasing like the Asian woman. I forgot her
mm-hmm.
name and
Ming
like
Na, Ming Na
so,
Wen.
Ming-Na Wen, and that entire episode could have been removed. That way, this was the first time we could have gotten Tatooine. But whatever.
You're right.
Upon
I
a,
mean, they teased everything with those boots, the Boba Fett boots, though, in that episode. So
which we will talk about.
yeah,
Um, but upon arrival at the Mos Pelgo, he learns that there is no Mandalorian there, but he's confronted by Marshal Cobb Vanth, who wears a set of Mandalorian armor, Boba Fett's armor. Now,
yeah.
here's the thing. Cobb Vanth, if you're a Star Wars book nerd like I am, we
Hmm.
actually seen him, we were heard or read about him
Oh,
5, maybe 6 years ago in the book Star Wars Aftermath, which essentially details what happens. One of the very first canon books released in the Disney era details
really?
what happens after the Battle of Endor. And here's where I get kind of annoyed because once again I'm a canon nerd. I like canon
Yeah,
too, like
yeah,
come together. Cobb Vanth tells him that he ran away from a bunch of miners and he came upon, the sandcrawler and found the armor. It was over there. And he traded
yeah.
these crystals for it. In the book, it's actually much different. Cobb Vanth actually kills a guy for it, I believe.
Mm, mm, mm.
They're in the sandcrawler, I believe, and another guy spots it and he wants to take it, and Vanth is like, no, 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 I'm taking it, and that's what happens.
Yeah,
Um, but basically, Vanth and Mando team up to essentially take down the Graboid from Tremors, which is apparently
Yeah.
the Krayt Dragon.
We see a Krayt Dragon skeleton in the original Star Wars.
I
It's
never
much.
thought it was like a sandworm from Dune type of thing,
Yeah,
but apparently it
I
is.
never thought about that either. You know, you see
Hmm.
it and you're just like, oh, I wonder what that's like. But you know, it's just a mystery. And then, I mean, this thing is probably the biggest one that's ever existed or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. I mean, it also fits in with the lore because Obi-Wan, in order to save Luke, he mimics the Krayt Dragon call, which doesn't sound like that Krayt Dragon in this episode at all. I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
think.
Yeah, no, no. Yeah, I mean, you know, I thought it was okay, what was so different about this episode, which engaged me quite a bit, is it was so seamlessly weaved into the events and the plots of the original trilogy. You know, like people actually mention the Death Star and the
Hmm.
fall of the Empire and all of these little things that you think that people would be talking about more, but they never do. You know, and here they're actually talking about it because you know these were really big events. You know, so
Well, to be fair, the places that Mando visited last time, they were either like these random far off locations that the Empire probably wouldn't be interested in, or because we did get people who were either in the Empire, like Science Guy and the old guy that said bounty hunter is a complicated profession. We got those
yeah,
guys and Cara Dune, who was a rebel. But you're right, we didn't really get like the average everyday man like Cobb Vanth, who I love his story here. As soon as the Death Star fell, like literally the next day, a gang came in and started taking over.
yeah, that's and that's pretty accurate. You know, it's something that's completely believable that would
Hmm.
happen, especially on a planet like Tatooine that's just filled with gangsters and ruffians. Yeah,
But essentially, the plot of the story is that Mando comes to this place looking for a Mandalorian. Cobb Vanth is not this, but Mando wants the armor because why not? Even though it's banged up as fuck, whatever.
yeah,
And they're about to fight until the Graboid slash Krayt Dragon starts terrorizing the
right.
town.
And
And
it's
now
yeah, and obviously it's very clearly Boba Fett's armor.
it is Boba Fett's armor.
Yeah.
Um, and Vanth agrees to give Mando the armor back to its people in exchange for helping killing the Krayt Dragon. So Mandalorian arranges an agreement between the villagers and the local clan of Tusken Raiders to work together to kill the Krayt Dragon in exchange between peace between the groups. They lure out the dragon. It's ultimately killed by Mando, and he leaves with Vanth's armor and is watched from afar by a figure who is Boba Fett. That is the original actor who played Jango Fett, and since Boba is a clone, it would make sense that the guy who played Jango would come back to
Right.
play Boba.
I mean, like it's a 99% chance it's Boba Fett. However, there's a 1% chance it's a clone trooper.
I mean, that is true. You got a point.
I mean, I'm just thinking like you're on the last, like he's like the last clone cycle of everybody, and then he's born. You know, he might get aged up to that point. You know, they age twice as
Actually,
fast.
I'm glad you
Yeah.
mentioned that because the new canon, the Disney canon, has actually made one of the rebel troopers on Endor a clone trooper. Remember,
Mm.
you've seen at Return of the Jedi probably 1,000 times, like I have, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Remember Han Solo's forest raiding party? Um, remember the old guy with the beard?
Yeah, yeah, I do.
He is a clone trooper. Yes, they made him Rex, the clone
They
trooper
made him
Rex.
Rex, really?
Yeah, there's a clone trooper named Rex from like the kids show Clone Wars, and yeah, it's confirmed that the older guy is a clone trooper, Rex.
They're putting Rex in a new show, aren't they?
I don't know about that.
They're
They
doing another show, not Rebels, but they're doing another
the Bad
show. I think,
Batch.
yeah, and I think Captain Rex is going to be in that
I'm
show.
actually
And it's
surprised you know about Rex.
I only know about it through watching Mr. Sunday Movies and like
Hmm.
their reviews of stuff. Like that's
Hmm.
most of my knowledge about Clone Wars and Rebels comes from that. And so
Gotcha.
they talk about, you know, the because it's funny because those two have they bring up that it's interesting that in the cartoons they really push the idea that each of these clone troopers is their own person with free will who
Yes.
you know has individual thought But if you accept that, then this mass slaughter of troops that we've seen in all of these movies is something to be, lamented and not cheered, because
Well, the
these were,
stormtroopers aren't clone troopers.
well, even worse. I mean, like then they're just regular conscripted
They're
people
they're
with
just
lives.
regular
Yeah.
scripted people.
Yeah. So, but, so there's a slim chance that that could be, I don't know, it could be fucking Captain Rex.
I
It
would,
might
I
be,
would, I would, I, well, Captain Rex has a distinct beard, but it could be another clone trooper.
it
You are
could be another
correct.
clone trooper, but, they've built up the Boba Fett thing. Like, why wouldn't they? Though I do think they kind of blew their load, like right at one, all at once. Like, why show him in that episode? Why not wait until another and have a bigger reveal?
Maybe it's because that's the only time they're ever going to show him. I mean, I think this is the first time we've seen Boba Fett's armor and Boba Fett in general. In how long has it been? 40 years, 41 years? Because
Was
we've
yes,
seen him
it's
in games.
1983. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've seen him in like games and movies, and games and like books and whatnot. But I don't think
Yeah.
we have seen him on screen post Endor
Well,
ever since Return of
it's
the Jedi.
funny how I was piecing it together, because he finds the armor, and then they mention that the Krayt Dragon has taken the lair of a dead Sarlacc, and they're like, Sarlaccs don't die. There aren't abandoned Sarlacc pits. They're like, oh, they are when a Krayt Dragon like kills it, and it's like, oh, do you think like Boba Fett was getting digested in there slowly, and then a Krayt Dragon attacked the Sarlacc, and he was able, because it killed the Sarlacc, Boba Fett was able to get out.
That would be pretty badass. How the fuck would he do that? Like, how would that even happen?
I mean, most of the now non-canon Escape from the Sarlacc pit stories have Boba Fett doing something incredible with his weaponry to blow a hole in the Sarlacc to get out,
I thought Dengar rescued him.
or something else like that. It doesn't, they have their own stories. I read one in which he's in there and he's pinned against the wall. I think this was Tales from Jabba's Palace, and he like is just trying to get to some button and on his suit, and he finally gets to it and is able to activate his backpack thruster and get out. But in this case, like he's just rescued. He's rescued by a random attack from a Krayt Dragon.
The one I read was that Dengar is getting married and he rescues Boba Fett and then asks Boba Fett to be his best man. I think that was one as well. But this
Who's
episode,
Dengar? Who's Dengar?
Dengar is the he's the bounty hunter with the turban.
Oh yeah. Okay.
This episode really didn't feel like a season premiere. It felt like just a continuation of season
Yeah,
one.
yeah. I mean, it had all the elements where, like I said, it feels like a video game where you come in, the NPCs are like, save our village. And you're like, okay, what do I have to do? You've got to do this. You're like, okay. And then, it was good. It was fine. But it's definitely that formula. Like, save our village, Mando.
One of the complaints that people lobbied at us throughout all of season one of Mandalorian was that we weren't completely satisfied. I wasn't dissatisfied, but it wasn't like the most amazing thing ever. It was fine. But this episode, once again, to repeat that, it was fine. Like, it was whatever.
No,
It
no, it
didn't
was
blow me
good.
away.
No, it didn't blow me away. I think that this episode may be it may be the best episode of the series so far. I thought it was really good. I mean, I'm including like the finale, which everybody loved last year. But no, I just think that Timothy Oliphant did a really good job. I liked all the characters. I liked the situation with the Tusken Raiders. There were some laughs.
I agree. Yeah, I like that too.
The visual effects were great. There were some good jokes. Like, when the Krayt Dragon comes up and it's supposed to eat the bantha and instead eats the Tusken Raider. Like, I definitely laughed at that, and I definitely laughed at like Timothy Oliphant like refusing to drink the drink, and then later you just see him drinking one, and you're like, well, I guess he's into it now.
So he's the marshal of this town on Tatooine, and apparently
Yeah.
he's played a marshal several times before. Someone was telling me he played one in Deadwood. I've never seen Deadwood, but you said he plays one in Justified?
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen Justified either, but he plays like a police officer in Justified.
I'm sure someone in the comments section will correct us as per usual, but But one of the things I noticed this time around is that there were a lot of callbacks to the original and prequel trilogies. And it wasn't just, here and there like in previous episodes. It was like almost every other scene.
Yeah, yeah.
R5 is still in
Do you
here.
think? I mean, I was about to say like, oh, is that the same R5? And but then they
Yes.
showed the top with the repaired wedge on his, and I was like, yep, that's where the bad motivator is.
Hmm.
Now,
Uh,
by the way, the R5 thing. In the original Star Wars, he does say like this R2 unit has a bad motivator, but for some reason on the toy, it was always called R5, right? Oh, I see. See,
I call them, they're astromech droids.
they are, and now I'm seeing the because I think okay, I'm they so when they sold the toy, I think they called it R5, but in the movie they call him. He definitely says this R2 unit has a
Yeah,
bad
he
motivator.
does.
So I think they've made his official thing R2-5, R5 for short. Like okay, we're gonna try to like fix all of the canon by like combining things together. That R5 is the informal name for the R2-5. Okay, all right.
The one thing I didn't like is like Amy Sedaris' character, Pelly. I feel like she was phoning it in a little too much. It's just I didn't vibe with it. But I was actually debating this. The fact that Mando killed the Krayt Dragon, does he now get a chance to put a Krayt Dragon like insignia on his armor now because he's killed one?
I mean, I guess is that a thing?
Yeah, that's why he got the Mudhorn insignia on his shoulder pad because he
Oh,
and the Baby Yoda
right,
killed it
right.
together. So does he get a chance to put this Krayt
Yeah,
Dragon
no,
insignia on his other shoulder?
I would imagine he would have to do that. I mean, that's a pretty damn impressive feat. I was a little confused on how he actually did it. Like he flies out of the monster's mouth and there's some like blue electricity. I imagine he set something off inside or something.
He was using
So
the little weird fork gun thing that he has.
yeah, yeah, the holiday the Christmas holiday special gun. Yeah.
Hmm. But this episode, once again, I'm not entirely blown away by it because the first episode of season one was like, whoa, I actually really liked it.
Yeah.
Coming to this
So
one, it's
no, I mean, I thought it was a really great episode. But I'll tell you the things that I think could have been improved.
mm,
I think that pacing was a problem in the show. Their little cutscenes of them flying speeders and everything just last way too long. Like their transitions, or they'll show like the topographical landscape, and they'll just show it for a little too long, and you're like, huh, and it kind of slows things down.
yeah.
We didn't really get any connection to the village itself, other than like the bartender that they kept showing.
That village was
Like,
super small. Holy, it's like four
yeah,
buildings.
why did the people really trust him? Like, what, who are the people that Timothy Oliphant like cares about? Things like that. Um, Timothy Oliphant himself didn't do much in the fight. He kind of stood back and let other people do stuff. Like Tusken Raiders were dying right and left, and Timothy Olyphant's just kind of in the back watching. And then Mando gets in there and does his thing, and Timothy Olyphant is just in the back doing things.
Well, my major problem here is that once again, as a season premiere, it didn't like knock out 1-2 punch like the season one premiere did. But at the
Mm.
same time, there's no real plot advancement if you think about it. Like, which is,
No, yeah,
I mean, the Red Letter Media guys will fucking love and jerk off to this type of stuff because they love those Star Trek like episodes where every
right.
episode is its own self-contained thing. Cool,
Hmm.
but maybe I've grown a little too much accustomed to every episode having some
Right.
meaning.
And it's a little, they like atmosphere and new things. I mean, this is the thing is professional movie people, they praise the new a little too much. Sometimes stuff is new and it's shit. And a movie person will be like so bowled over by something new that they might not, realize it's shit at first.
Hmm.
Um, And so the Red Letter Media guys like loved Mandalorian because it was like a new take on Star Wars that was like different and refreshing and not stale to them. And it's like, I don't really care so much about it being a Western or it playing homage to The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly or anything like that, or spaghetti Westerns. I honestly don't give a shit. I, I don't care very much about homage and stuff. Like when people watch like Quentin Tarantino movies and they're like, oh my God, he's like throwing back homages to like 1970s blaxploitation films. I'm just like, yeah, I don't care. Like I care about like human themes, like whether or not something tells me more about the human condition, intricacies of plots, humor, things that are clever in the story. I myself don't care about like throwbacks. Now, so like, you know, putting banthas in here and there and like, yeah, it was nice seeing banthas, but I'm not going to freak out about banthas being in the episode, but, so I don't know, but I don't know. It was a good episode. I liked it referencing stuff before. It didn't advance the plot at all. Baby Yoda did absolutely nothing in the whole episode. The only thing it did is sort of reveal that Boba Fett is alive. But how does Boba Fett relate to the plot? Like, the plot is get Yoda home, right? And Boba Fett showing up is like a fanboy dream, and I'm still a fanboy, and I still like Boba Fett showing up. And so, like, I leave the episode very excited about Boba Fett and hearing how he got out of the Sarlacc pit and that whole thing. I'm very excited about hearing about that story. But I do admit, that has nothing to do with Baby Yoda.
Yeah, well, like I said, for a season premiere, it doesn't feel like one. It feels like a continuation of just season 1, and they named it Chapter 9. So
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. Um, you know, if I mean, it sounds like Timothy Oliphant might show up again. And now we're seeing that his friends reappear, right?
oh, you think they're gonna retry? I don't think he's gonna reappear, Cobb Vanth. I think the armor itself might make another appearance later on down the season
Well,
when
definitely
maybe
the armor.
when maybe one of his friends need to wear it for some reason, or maybe a decoy or something.
Well, okay. So how many friends has Mando made now? He's got
Uh,
Carl Weathers. He's got
Grief
Pig
Karga.
Boy. He's got Pig Boy.
No, Pig Boy died.
Pig Boy died. IG-88.
Who also died?
But they showed up in more than one episode, right? So like,
Yeah.
IG-88 and Pig Boy like showed up in multiple episodes. Cara Dune, Carl Weathers, they all showed up in multiple episodes. So and Amy Sedaris showed up now in multiple episodes. So like most of his friends have returned. We have not seen Akecheta's girlfriend hasn't returned.
I don't think she's gonna. I think that's a one-off character.
Yeah, because that episode is when we got introduced to Cara Dune, right?
Yes, Cara Dune.
Cara Dune.
The only characters I've so far seen in the trailer that might appear again is Cara Dune and Grief Karga. We keep hearing that Rosario Dawson, who was Cory Booker's girlfriend, she might appear as.
Did they break up?
I have no idea. I don't. I'm not aware.
Now you're making me look this up.
Oh no!
If he's still seeing Rosario Dawson.
Preston will stop the entire podcast to look up obscure stuff.
Oh, Oprah Magazine has a relationship timeline. What?
Anyways, the reason she's important is because she'll apparently be playing Ahsoka Tano, who is huge in the Star Wars community as not Twi'lek, but the other with the love handles alien.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So, Shakti's race. She might appear, and she might be one of Mando's friends as well. But at this point in the story, Ahsoka is looking for Ezra Bridger, also another character from another kid's Star Wars show. So, that might be one of his friends going forward. But I don't think we're going to see Cobb Vanth again. But I do think it would be cool if we see Boba Fett again tracking Mando for that armor back.
If he's going to come back to he's got to come back to Tatooine to have a run-in with Boba Fett. So unless Boba Fett's going to leave Tatooine.
I mean, he
But
can. Boba Fett's a badass. He can take a
right, but if
spaceship.
Boba Fett wanted his armor back, he would have taken it from Timothy Oliphant.
True.
You know, there must be some other thing that's going to bring them together. By the way, Cory Booker and Rosario Dawson are still going out. In fact, they just moved in together.
Oh,
So
nice.
anyway, yeah. Just be like, oh man, like I don't know if I could. If I was with Rosario Dawson, I'd constantly be like quoting Kids, the movie Kids, until she
I've
broke
never
up with
seen
me.
that.
Oh God, it's hilarious, hilarious movie. Anyway, yeah. But so something needs to bring him back to Tatooine again in order for him to
He's
run into.
probably this is probably a running gag or probably a running joke with the writers of Mandalorian where he's gonna visit Tatooine at least once every season
Yeah.
until the show is like finished. Because I hate that they go back to Tatooine. I want to go see another fucking place. And apparently, according to the trailer, we're gonna go see other places, which
Yeah.
I'm excited for. But yeah, once again, this episode for
I mean, is it gonna
me.
be like Evil Morty, where it's like he shows up once every 2 seasons, and like is Boba Fett gonna do that, or is he gonna be like, really intricate to the plot?
I want to say yes to everything, but I kind of hope not. I kind of hope we don't see Boba Fett again because I just want new characters. Some of the new characters are really cool. Like I love the Moff Gideon, the bad guy played by Giancarlo
Yeah, I mean,
Esposito.
he's definitely gonna come back. He's got it,
Oh,
right?
he's better fucking come back. I will say I will give the show props for not like introducing stormtroopers again in the first episode, but the fact that we went back to Tatooine and it's like
Mm.
okay, well
Oh
there you
yeah.
go, man.
I mean,
Boba Fett's out of the way.
can we go more than a few episodes without going back to Tatooine?
I would rather go at least 2 seasons without having to go back to Tatooine.
Well, so wait, did the Cara Dune, Carl Weathers, Esposito shootout, was that on Tatooine or is that somewhere else?
That was somewhere else. That
Okay.
looked like Tatooine.
Okay. So it was a different generic desert planet.
Different
So
generic desert planet.
so the Ming Na Wen episode,
That was on Tatooine.
that was the only one on Tatooine so far.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
why I'm
and then
thinking like
now
at
this
least
one.
every season there's gonna be one episode on Tatooine as
Okay,
like a running gag.
so maybe this is the only time we're going to see Boba Fett the whole season, and we're going to have to wait until season 3.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, and honestly, I wouldn't even
Uh,
care about seeing Boba Fett again. I'd rather see him do other things in other media. A little cameo is just fine by me, unless they're gonna like pit him up where he steals his armor back, which would be fucking cool.
yeah, that'd be interesting. But why not take it from Timothy Oliphant? He seems a lot easier to take it from.
True. You know what I realized? The entire episode could have been finished within like 10 minutes because um before the Krayt Dragon appears, they're gonna have a shootout. And then the Krayt Dragon appears and then he eats the bantha and then leaves. And then Timothy Oliphant's like, okay, you know what? How about this? I'll make you a deal. You help me kill that thing, I'll give you the armor. Mando could have just said, no. Boom. Over. It's like the entire episode is done. But of course, that couldn't have been a thing because we have to have the whole episode. So Mando just agrees. Well, he doesn't really have to. He could just shoot him in the face.
Oh, by the way, when he shot the missile, I like laughed because of the inside joke about Boba Fett's missile. Like, do you know about all of this?
That it never hits anything.
No, 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 no. Well, it was never fired, right?
Oh yeah, it never did.
So the whole thing about the Boba Fett missile thing is, so when Boba Fett came out, he had this jetpack and this missile on, and so they made for the action figures, they made like a beta whatever for with a shooting missile, with a spring-loaded shooting missile, and they were going to sell this. And then it went through, approval people, and they're like, no, like the missile is a choking hazard. You can't release it, or plus like loading it and everything is too costly. And in the end, the Boba Fett action figure that came out to the public it didn't have a firing missile. And
What?
the firing missile action figures are like maybe I know that one sold for like $200,000. Maybe that was just
Jesus.
the prototype. Maybe like the first generation. No, I guess it was a myth. Yeah, the prototype had a firing missile. It sold for $200,000, but I don't think the ones that ever got sent out to the public had one. I'm not sure. Maybe just a handful. But the whole thing is that the missiles never launched. And so when Jango Fett finally fires his missile, it was like this relief. Like, oh, after all of these years, we actually see the missile shooting. Because he doesn't shoot it in Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi. The action figure didn't have it. It just, and then now finally Timothy Elephant like shoots the missile.
You're a giant like bag of random facts and
See,
information.
see, you think I don't have the Star Wars knowledge,
I
but in
never said
fact,
that. I
it
never
was
said that.
my knowledge is very honed in on the original trilogy, and with not very expanded universe. Okay, this is what happens when yeah.
I
So,
know. I understand. It's just who would have
well,
known that?
when you play with the action figures as a kid, and I remember as a kid people being like, oh, some of the Boba Fett's like fire missiles. Like this was like a rumor that went around, and you're like, but this one doesn't. And everyone's like, no, man, no. And it was like a thing. It was a very big thing. Very, so I don't know.
Overall, this episode once again, okay. As per
Yeah.
usual, it was all right. I love the CGI and the Krayt Dragon. I just hate that the plot never fucking goes anywhere. But for people who love Star Wars stuff, they'll like the callbacks of R5, the pod racer speeder bike thing, Banthas, yay! AT-ATs, AT-ATs.
AT-ATs, I know that. I recognize it.
And I will say, the fact that he actually can talk to the Tusken Raiders instead of
Right.
having to blast through them, like, I don't know, I kind of really like that. That's kind of a neat thing, because normally everybody would just shoot their way out of a situation, but Mando actually takes the time to talk to the Tusken Raiders instead of taking them head on, which would have served no purpose. I really like that.
Oh, I thought that was great. I wonder if one day if we'll ever find out what Tusken Raiders look like, or Jawas for that
Yeah,
matter.
yeah. Probably
Like
not. It would probably
probably
ruin it,
not.
honestly. I like
Yeah,
the mystery of it.
yeah.
But what did you think of the episode?
I mean, like I say, I think it's my favorite episode so far in the series. Yeah, yeah,
Even more
and
so than the first episode of the first season, which was fucking epic?
yeah, I think so. And it was more just because it kind of connected to the previous stuff, and it really lived in the universe.
Oh, very well. You could binge the hell out of it.
Yeah, I liked them trying to get along with the Tusken Raiders. I think it's interesting that after making them such one-dimensional characters, that the Mandalorian is like trying to humanize them, make us sympathize with the Tusken Raiders. So I don't know. I'm trying to piece together why I liked this episode as much, because some people their favorite episode is the Bill Burr like escape episode or whatever.
Hmm.
And I don't know. I think this one was one where I honestly had some laughs. I liked the characters. I thought there was a lot of lore. I was excited about Boba Fett. Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm just a fucking fanboy that was like excited about Boba Fett. I don't know. I thought the CGI was really impressive, even though
CGI was great.
it just reminded me of Tremors.
But yeah, I agree with you. The opening scene in season two was much better than the opening scene in season one where he hunts that blue guy. Although sometimes I will say I feel like those scenes are there for trailer purposes only. But yeah, it was a cool episode. I wasn't blown away by it as per usual. It was cool, Krayt Dragon CGI, everything looks nice, but I guess they're saving a chunk of their really good stuff for later episodes.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll get like more of like a storyline this season instead of side missions every single episode and the occasional NPC recruiting, because I feel like he has his
Right.
crew already.
Yeah. In fact, I wish they put IG-88 back together. You know, like maybe that's it. Maybe he'll have this huge ragtag crew by the end.
Actually, you know what? I think that's the one thing he is missing is like a droid companion at least.
Right, because he doesn't like droids.
Oh, that's right, he doesn't.
He's got Amy Sedaris.
God, I fucking hope not. Cringe character, I hope not. Maybe like a little droid companion, you know, like cracks jokes. Yeah, cheer up, Mando. Blah, 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 blah. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. That'd be fucking annoying. Never mind. Never mind. That's awful.
I thought he
This
like,
is-
oh, you know what it was is he's gone. You know how she's like, oh, he hates droids, and he's like, whatever, they can clean my ship up. He's gotten over his hatred of droids because of IG-88.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he doesn't hate droids anymore. He doesn't hate droids anymore.
Well, maybe he
Subtle.
dislikes, strongly dislikes them, but not as much.
Not as much. Yeah. Yeah. We'll see.
But like I said, if on a scale from 1 to 10, I'd give it like a 6, 7. It was
Yeah,
fine.
Yeah, no, I give it a 7, 8. You know. I mean, for so many things that like I'm sick of, like going to Tatooine and everything, like you know, I thought it was okay. You know.
Preston, can we wrap it up here?
Sure thing.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. As always, we will see you back next week with more Mando. Please, if you haven't already, follow Preston on Twitter or on Facebook. That way you can get updated with every time Preston uploads. Preston, Sweet Robin 9000 on Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Preston Jacobs, the Sweet Robin. I think I'm on Facebook. Yeah.
And if you guys are itching for more Game of Thrones stuff, don't worry, we'll be back with that soon as well. Just keep checking windsofwinter.com for more updates on that. The fact that you were able to scoop that up, man, that is
Yeah.
the moment it gets
windsofwinter.com.
the moment it gets announced. Holy shit! Ooh,
In the year 2025. What a year. I'll be looking for the end of COVID and the winds of winter in the year 2025.
I wonder if they'll contact you and pay you out for it just because they want the URL.
We'll see. Probably not.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.